Carlos King has his Captain SAVE-a-MARSAU hat on, defending his arrest in the same fashion that he defended Martel's arrest when it happened to him. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Love and Mugshot Huntsville and Carlos King putting on a cape once again anytime his male cast members get arrested on this show. And I'm just over it. I am just exhausted. So before I had listened to what Carlos King had said about Marceau yesterday, I did a refresher from like over a year ago when Martel got arrested, and that was the time when Carlos King was doing reviews with Dr. Heavenly for Married to Medicine, but wanted to utilize Dr. Heavenly as his basically mouthpiece. So in that particular one, he basically said that, you know, Martel didn't know about the arrest. He didn't know he had a warrant out for his arrest. And that, you know, Mel had filed, you know, for this over a year ago. However, I remember on the show that Martel was aware of the arrest and specifically said that Mel was trying to get him arrested. So the cover up what was already in place, trying to make it seem like Martel had no idea, but conveniently during filming, you know what I'm saying, this happens, and then you try to, you know what I'm saying, make it Mel's fault. And then they also talked about in Martel's arrest, less about his arrest, less about the reason for the arrest, and less about what happened. And they wanted to spin it on the backlash that Martel's mom was doing, which was basically coddling him and making excuses for him. And then that is when Dr. Heavenly, you know, Carlos is like, well, you're a mom, you have sons, da-da-da-da, what would you do? And she's like, well, I'm always going to protect my sons, and if they get arrested, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, so no accountability. No problem with people getting arrested, number one. Number two, you don't care that the reason that, you know, Martel was out here trying to put revenge pay out on his ex-wife and everything else and try to make it seem like he was cheating on her. And allegedly, potentially, cast members have seen this because Tisha confirmed that they knew all about this and that some of the cast had seen, you know, what Martel was trying to do. So already Carlos King goes into Captain Save a Male cast member of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I just don't understand. So that was the Martel of it all, basically glossing over the reason for the arrest, basically covering Martel for him claiming he had no clue, even though Martel said in an episode prior, in a prior season, that he was fully aware of the arrest warrant, and basically this was a storyline for him, but he was going to utilize it to his benefit to try to flip the narrative and just make it seem like Melody was just randomly throwing him in jail on false accusations and all of this and all of that. Fast forward, obviously, news broke that Marceau had got arrested on Sunday, right? And so Carlos King, obviously, this is his show, you know, because he likes to say that it's his show, and so he should be the person that's overseeing everything that's going on with this show. So last night, with Dustin and Claudia Jordan and everything else, when they are discussing this arrest, wanted to make it note, once again, we are filming, same thing as Martel, that when he got arrested, even though he knew about the warrant, even though he lied, you know, covered for him wherever, claimed that he didn't know, conveniently, you know what I'm saying, you are filming this as well, to add another mugshot to the list of these alleged elite professionals, of these alleged multimillionaires, and all of this and all of that, that apparently cannot finish projects or anything, but nonetheless, said that, Dustin was like, oh, I think Dustin said that. Oh, I think this is good for you. You know what I'm saying? You got content, you got a storyline. And then Carlos King was like, this is not good for me. Well, obviously, because you sold a dream at the beginning when the show first came out, and it has been nothing but chaos ever since. So then he said as well, Carlos said that there's a lot of assumptions, that he can't say anything, can't say too much, that he has spoken on Marceau, and when Marceau, is able to say his side of things, that people are going to understand what happens. And so I found it interesting. He read off all the charges, read off when Marceau got arrested, when Marceau got released. But then specifically, he wanted to note the harassment charge and wanted to note specifically that it had nothing to do with his wife, Tasha. And I'm like, is that supposed to make it better? Like, is that supposed to make it better that these charges exist, but as long as it's not against his wife, that's okay? So are you trying to allege it's against another woman? Or are you trying to allege it's against a man? And I was just very confused. And so then here goes Dustin. Well, I'm so happy that this has nothing to do with his wife or a woman, and that the police didn't arrest him regarding a woman. But you didn't even have this energy for Martel's arrest. You took no grace, no consideration whether a woman was involved or not. I don't understand. I thought it was wrong, you know what I'm saying, to be arrested and all this and all of that, like, considering what the charges are trying to say. And so now they're trying to minimize this. Well, maybe it was like a bar fight or something like that, Marceau owns a restaurant, lounge, bar, and, perhaps maybe something happened after hours where the bar and stuff was closed and they maybe had like a little kickback and maybe something got escalated, and that's the reason that all of this happened. So y'all just said that y'all weren't making speculations and not making any assumptions about anything, but because you found out specifically that this had nothing to do with Marceau's wife, Tasha, now you're going on another tangent. Now you're trying to celebrate the fact that the arrest has nothing to do with the woman, as if it is okay to be arrested in the first place. Because this is separate if, you're doing like the peaceful protest or civil rights or things like that. That's separate from that. Or when somebody puts a false police report on you, you know what I'm saying, to have a warrant out for your arrest, for a completely false story, a completely false narrative, just to try to have you have a mugshot, allegedly, right? That's different from that. In the case of both Martel and Marceau, these are legitimate charges. That something did happen, but it is weird to me how Carlos King has his cape on for both Martel when this happened with Martel, and Neil with Marceau. Where is the consideration at all? Where's the accountability of it all? Why is there any situation that potentially can lead to any arrest in the first place? And we're just defending it like it's normal, like it's okay. And like I said, even with the Martel arrest and what happened with the DV communications and the third degree and everything else, they did not, him and Dr. Heavenly, when they had that conversation, because I specifically looked up that live, they gave zero consideration, zero grace, zero empathy for Melody Cherie. Carlos King wanted to make it clear that there was zero communication between Mel and Martel and that all their communication was through the courts, but there was no grace or sympathy or empathy to the actual victim of the Revenge P and how vindictive Martel was against his ex-wife. And in this, example with Marceau, that they want, I guess, a birthday party. They want a celebration that because allegedly Tasha's not involved, and technically Carlos didn't say any woman was involved. I just heard it on Dustin's side of things. That as long as a woman's not involved in the harassment or whatever took place in these charges, that it's okay for the mugshot. It's okay to get arrested. No. Like, we're even living in different times, you guys. We are living in alternate times. But I don't know what's going on in this world right now. I have no clue what is happening in this world that this is okay, that this is appropriate, that this is something that people are rationalizing. And that was the narrative. So obviously this is going to be a storyline, same fashion as Martel, to where Marceau is going to flip it and reverse it into any way that's his favor, in the same way that his brother did with the alleged DUI. Wanted to brag that technically it was dismissed off of technicality, but now you're admitting a whole year later, oh yeah, I hit a tree, I hit a pole, I hit, all of these things. I hit an animal. But you're not hitting all those things if you're child. I'm over the games and the stunts and the shows and the performances. And how is this a safe space for black women on these shows if the coddling and the Captain Save-a-Martel and the Captain Save-a-Marceau antics are on full display? That it's not what you think it is. It's not a big deal. I personally have never heard of people being arrested and having charges on them not being a big deal. I must be from a different world. You know what I'm saying? I must have came from a different type of family, a different type of, you know what I'm saying? Because I've never heard any logic like this before. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody is arrested and they have a mugshot and they have charges, it's supposed to be a big deal. It's not supposed to be diminished on whether or not Tisha's involved or whether or not there's a woman involved. Like what are we doing? I cannot. So, nonetheless, you guys, do me the biggest favor, do me the biggest one, and that is to hype the video, please. There's that. That is it. That is all. Es todo es final. Es finito. Es the end of the road. See you in the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.